Honorable rectors, members of the Board of Trustees, President of the Barcelona Graduate School of Economics, faculty, graduates and families, ladies and gentlemen, benvinguts, bienvenidos. Welcome to the AXA Auditorium in Lilla. Honestly, it's a great pleasure for us to host your graduation ceremony in this beautiful building whose avant-garde design has converted Lilla complex into an emblematic reference in terms of sustainability and functionalities in Barcelona. This is our house, it's also your home. Today, and thanks to the Barcelona BSE, I'm happy to welcome you all in this building. And even if you all know it, I don't want to miss this opportunity to remind you how AXA Spain and AXA Research Fund are fully committed to this institution and to your education. Today, we are here to celebrate the culmination of all your hard work on all the good results and success you have achieved. Now let's step back to measure all you have accomplished and take your time to appreciate that you are about to start a new chapter of your life, full of opportunities, unique experiences and challenges. You are young and smart, highly qualified, and with a healthy ambition. You are probably the most qualified generation ever. Your contribution will be certainly very important for the society of today and tomorrow. We know the environment is not easy, but I'm convinced that you have the best skills and knowledge to succeed in the economy of the future. You have a huge responsibility ahead, and your path will be full of challenges to overcome. But in any case, I'm convinced that you will know how to deal with them successfully. You are prepared for it, and you will know how to take advantage of all the learnings you gained during all these years. Thank you, congratulations, and I wish you all the very best.
Many thanks, Mr. Moreno. Professors, family and friends, BSE community, and especially the BSE graduating class, welcome to the 2024 Barcelona School of Economics graduation ceremony. It is a great honor for me to represent BSE in this graduation. It is a moment of joy for all of us, but most importantly, it is a turning point for the new graduates. First, I would like to express our gratitude to AXA Foundation for generously hosting the BSE graduation ceremony. AXA has supported the BSE project through the Research Professors Program for many years, and it has also provided guidance as a member of the BSE's Board of Trustees. Our gratitude goes also to other companies and sponsors that support our programs and help us attract the best students all over the world, and that those companies eventually offer jobs to our graduates, but also benefit from the knowledge and skills acquired in the BSE programs by you. Let me step back to early September 2023, not even a year ago. I then welcome you to the BSE Master Programs and to our two campuses in Barcelona and Bellaterra. It was a day of excitement for many opportunities ahead, but also of some uncertainty and fear of the unknown. You were surrounded by new faces of many different origins and backgrounds that meant potential friends, professors from whom to learn and interact, and BSE staff that promised to give you guidance and support throughout the year. You knew you were engaging in a program that was highly demanding and challenging. You heard about the hard work, the sleepless nights, the tough exams. I really hope we have not disappointed you on that dimension. But collaboration is also at the heart of BSE. Working together enhances learning, augments discovery and innovation, makes study and work more pleasant, and builds friendships. The opening ceremony in Bellaterra gave us the opportunity to see how, in collaboration, the teamwork of Castellers can build amazing human towers. You probably remember that. I hope collaboration at BSE has enhanced the building of your knowledge tower and your own human tower of solid friends that will be the basis for larger networks and opportunities. These are valuable assets that will remain with you wherever you go. In a world where technology can provide solutions to an increasing and wider range of tasks, your capacity to analyze problems with a rigorous and open mind, to ask the relevant questions and look for structured answers, in combination with tailored data analysis skills, will make the difference and open many doors. You need to be alert, creative, and aim at continuous learning. With that frame of mind, you can be ahead and contribute to change, to the progress of a society that needs to overcome important challenges that we face as economists, but also as human beings. Today, you are accompanied by your family and friends who have provided you unwavering support throughout this extraordinary year. Also, by directors and professors who have shared their wisdom and knowledge, and by our BSE staff who have given you always support. All of them deserve our appreciation and sincere gratitude. Today you start a new adventure, scattered around the world, but remember that BSE will be with you wherever you go. And take advantage of the almost 3,500 alumni network that you are going to be now part of. Congratulations, class of 2024. May your journey be exciting, prosperous, and happy. I would like now to introduce Professor Elena Ramalino, Vice Rector of Internationalization at Universitat Pompeu Fabra. Elena. I'm sorry, yes. All right, so I step back. Thank you, Elena. Yes, actually, sorry, Antonio. It's the time that I would like to introduce you. So let me introduce the speaker of the 2024 graduation ceremony, Antonio Cabrales. He is professor at Carlos III University. Antonio obtained his PhD at the University of California, San Diego, and got his first job at Universitat Pompeu Fabra, where he became professor. He has also been a member of the Board of Trustees of the Barcelona School of Economics for many years, so we were lucky to get at many times his advice. Thank you very much, Antonio, for accepting to deliver the graduation speech, and welcome back to BSE.
All right. Hope everyone hears me. Well, thank you everyone for inviting me, Rector, Vice Rector, all the authorities, and thanks everyone for being here. So I wanted to talk to you briefly about a few things. One is congratulations, of course, should be the first thing. So that's a nice picture I took a couple of months ago. So my son is the good-looking fellow on the right. You don't need to say that he looks like his mother, because he does. He's also very smart, like his mother. But I understand this is a joyful occasion, and I actually encourage you to enjoy very much like these guys were doing. So in addition, I congratulate you because I expect rationally that you're going to do very well. So this is the last class I taught at Pompeu Fabra, the masters that some of you finished in economics and finance, and that's the class of 2005, 2006. Now, so I had the list. I'm not sure this is GDPR compliant, but I still have the list somewhere. And I started looking at the names, and I said it was wow after wow, because these were kids like you, and I don't know, at that time they just looked like kids. But first one in the list is managing economist, Copenhagen Economics, another associate professor at Zurich, the chief financial officer at Brain, a research fellow at the research department at Consob, at the stock market regulator in Italy. Professor, director, senior partner, so on and so forth. This is just, 17 years from now. And it's only one or two I didn't locate, and this is because they have pretty common names, so I couldn't locate them, but all of them are doing really well, and you will too. That I have no doubt that you will. As a predecessor was saying, you're probably the best prepared, generation we've ever seen, and we hope it. Now, one reason why I'm so hopeful for you is because, in a sense, because of this. So this is, I'm old enough to have watched this movie early. It's called The Sound of Music, and this is Julie Andrews singing in the Austrian Alps. So it's a nice story about a family that actually has to fight against Nazism and so on, which, is one of the dangers we face right now. But importantly, I was in Innsbruck a couple of months ago. And you see the mountains there all full of snow. Now, in March this year, this should be the summer, by the way, and there's still snow. In March this year, there was almost no snow, at least not at that height. It was much further up. So we're going to need all your skills because there's a very big problem that we are facing. As you can imagine, it's climate change. Now, the reason why climate change is, in a sense, so puzzling is because we really have known about this for a very long time. So this is a quote from an Australian provincial newspaper, the Rodney and Otamatia Times, in the Science and Note News, 1912. It says, the furnaces of the world are now burning about 2 billion tons of coal a year. When this is burned, uniting it with oxygen, it adds about 7 billion tons of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere yearly. This tends to make the air a more effective blanket for the air and to raise its temperature. Notice the date again, 1912. Not only that, but we already knew very long time ago that climate change can cause serious problems for humanity. Huntington, this is a paper published in the Quarterly Journal of Economics, so economists know about this, already claimed that climate change is partially explained the fall of Rome, 1917. So we've known about this for a very long time. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story about our puzzlement and why this puzzles so much. That is based on a paper I've written with Manu Garcia, is a PhD student in Washington University of St. Louis. David Ramos is a lawyer at my institution, Angel Sanchez, a mathematician there. So we need all skills to understand this problem. The question we're asking ourselves is, why does it seem that climate action is not happening sufficiently quickly? And one hypothesis we have is that evolution of social norms is transmitted in a very slow way in society, and the transmission between social groups makes the problem also complicated. For example, in another work with the same authors, we have argued that central banks should indeed take an interest in climate change. And as you'll see, they are taking an interest in climate change. But in 2015, before they started taking an interest in climate change, Mark Carney, then the governor of the Bank of England, pointed out that usually monetary policy horizon is about 2-3 years, financial stability at most a decade, climate, the view has to go 50 years or more. So it needs to change the way we operate. It needs to change our minds. In a sense, it needs people like you that come and actually start making things change. So what we did in this paper is we created indices of mentions to climate change in media, newspapers, in fact, general interest science journals, economics top 5, European Parliament questions, European central banks. We did some web scraping and look at all this. And then we proposed a network model of social norms transmission in the spirit of, in fact, this is a paper written by Coralio Ballester, Anthony Calvo-Armengol, and Yves Sanou. Tony and Coralio were both members, or graduates, in fact, of the Barcelona School of Economics. So this is a very important work that, in a sense, arises out of the creation of work of people like you some years ago. Now, these models parameters can be estimated using what we call a VAR. So for the people in the audience that are not economists, this is not the football thing. No, football is very important these days, but it's something else. It's called vector autoregression using the indices. So let me explain you a little bit what we do. So we developed the climate change index with the universe of news in top newspapers, so 18 UK, 18 European, 12 American, US, 7 Australian, 7 Indian, 5 Canadian, and 2 Singaporean, 69 publications, using the keywords climate change. In a robustness, we have another list, very large list of terms. It doesn't make any difference. So following a methodology invented by Baker, Bloom, and some other authors, we standardize this series, average across papers by month, and we divide by the average. Basically, we create a series, an index this way. And this is what it looks like. So notice, we already knew in 1912 that there was a problem. But if you look at this index, it barely registers until essentially somewhere 2008, something like this. And there have been several climate summits before. So the Hague, there was the Kyoto Protocol adopted. As you can see, press didn't pay too much attention to the Kyoto Protocol approval and so on. And it's only when the IPCC fourth assessment is reported, 2007, 2008, that things start happening. When the Copenhagen Accord happens. But then, suddenly, the financial crisis comes and we more or less forget about this. And it's only recently, the end of the last century, that we start worrying about this again. So this is the scale of the problem. You know, it goes in and out of our attention, even though it's a serious problem that needs continuous action. And like I said, it's not that we recently learned about this. I gave you an interesting quote from a very, provincial newspaper, but in fact, the scientific research on carbon dioxide has been going on for 150 years. Mid-19th century, an Irish experimentalist first established that CO2 is a greenhouse gas. Early 20th century realized that CO2 release could alter the Earth's climate. British engineer compiled the first empirical evidence of the greenhouse effect. This is all, by the way, from actually a very interesting book by a couple of science historians, now Naomi Oreskes and Eric Conway. Now, how about scientists? Okay, if you go to general interest science journals, interest has been very steady for a very long time. So it's not like the scientists have just recently realized about this. No, it's not only 150 years ago. If you look at the series of science, the mentions in journals has increased, but it basically was very high already at the end of last century. Now, how about economists? Because I need to be honest with this, and actually we haven't been good actors in this. So there was a White House Office Science Technology that started asking about this in 1980, so it's already a little bit late. What economists started asking is climate change wouldn't produce new kinds of climates. This is from Tom Schelling, Nobel Prize economist, game theorist, very important person. He said, well, it will simply change the distribution of climatic zones on the Earth. So he suggested that, yeah, we can continue to burn fossil fuels without restriction, and they would just migrate and adapt. Essentially, what he was saying is, look, right now, climate change, what it's going to do is going to make Canada and Siberia more habitable. Other places will be less habitable. What's the problem? We just migrate to Canada and Siberia. That's what a clever, very clever economist said at the time. Yeah, so Schelling acknowledged that these historic migrations occurred in areas with fewer national boundaries, but nevertheless, he suggested adaptation would be the best response. Okay? So our story in this is not a nice one. In particular, he also said significant reduction in concentration of CO2 will require stringent policies such as hefty taxes. We now know this. The strategies suggested later, climate modification adaptation, are likely to be more economical. There's very sad effects, but in the end, it will be more costly to do stringent abatements. So that's very sad. So it's a very smart economist in 1980 telling the American president, don't worry, we'll deal with this. Okay. Now, has this gotten any better? Well, if we just look at mentions in top 5 economic journals, so that's the most important journals in the discipline, looking at abstracts or titles in the last 30 years, it barely registers. So climate change, it's mentioned 19 times. You know, if you compare to, I don't know, marketing, it's about the same times that marketing is mentioned. Of course, an order of magnitude less than monetary policy, about the same sense as game theory. It just, you know, there's no comparison. So in the top journals, it's not just shelling. In the top journals of the profession, we haven't paid barely any attention. Now, if we look at all the economics journals and not just the top 5, it's a little bit better. But economists start noticing this not much earlier, and certainly much later than other scientists, but not much earlier than journalists, for goodness sake. So it seems like there's work to do. Now it's a little bit better, but you know, also as a percentage of the all articles published is very little. All right. How about other institutions? We've mentioned scientists, we've mentioned journalists. How about parliamentarians? Well, you know, European Parliament is an index of questions in the European Parliament. They do a little better. But again, it's only around 2005, 2007 that they start waking up. And also, attention diminishes, just like for newspapers, it diminishes during the financial crisis, and it's only now that we're doing any better. Well, finally, central banks. Central banks wake up even later. So central banks start worrying about this. You remember the quote I gave you by the Mark Carney, the Bank of England governor in 2015. It took even 5 more years so that central banks start noticing. Finally, now they're noticing, and there's a good reason for this. It's very likely that climate change is going to harm very quickly the financial stability of countries, and therefore they have a mandate to do something. So finally they've realized, and now they're starting to work on this, which means that banks are also starting to work on this. I have a friend that works in the city of London in one of the biggest banks, HSBC, and he was saying he started working on these things 10 years ago. It were 4 or 5 people in his office for a long time. Now there are 100 people in his office. So climate change is going to be a big deal for the future in many dimensions, and your expertise is going to be needed for that. All right, so what we did after we gathered all this data, we took up a simple theoretical framework. I was going to write an equation here, but I thought we've pestered them enough with equations, and also there is this famous saying that for each equation you write in a popular book, you lose half the audience. So I said, okay, fine, I don't want to lose you half immediately. But I think it's nice to mention the theory because it's based on work by Coralio, Tony, who I said are BSE graduates and PhDs, both of them, and Yves Zenou, who's a good friend and professor that also visited the UAB and UPF for many times. Now, in this model, the benefit of an action depends on what I do, but also on what others like I do. In a sense, we are all connected, and it's not just my action. Remember this, we're trying to think about social norms and how they influence one another. It's a linear quadratic model, so for those of you who have studied these kind of things, you'll notice that, once you have this, you're going to have that equilibrium actions are going to be linear functions of past actions of others in my network of reference. And therefore, we're going to construct a model that's going to be easy to estimate. The coefficients can be easy to estimate with a vector autoregression. So what does the model tell us? What the model tells us is at 1/4, all variables are affected by their own lags, big deal. So there is some hysteresis, so the past effects. The only thing that seems to be connected with one another is Europarlament affects the media, okay? And that's basically it. So I can summarize, this is a big slide. I shouldn't have big slides, don't do big slides, but the basic idea here is Parliament listens to the media, media listens to Parliament, no one else listens to anyone else in the data. So there is a GDP effect, most likely 2020 pandemic shock, because it disappears if I estimate before 2020, so it means that somehow the pandemic has done something to our mind. And now we are attuned to the possibility that climate change can indeed be a big deal. So that's basically the take-up. It hasn't, there are some boundaries between science and academia and the decision makers. And one of the things that is important for the future is that you need to do something about this, because otherwise we're in a bad shape. So in a conclusion, I think the red final line says, we need you. You have done good work, but that's not the end of it. It's not just that you're going to be CEO or advisor to the president or to a ministry or something else. Your positive impact on our societies is going to be a huge deal, and we expect lots of you, and we need you. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Antonio. So there is no time to lose, right? We need to go for action. Now it is the time for Professor Elena Ramalino, Vice Rector for Internationalization at the UPF.
Thank you so much, Professor Teresa Garcia Milá, Mr. Francis Moreno, Ms. Professor Xavier Ramos, and Professor Antonio Cabrales, dear graduates, families, and friends. The first thing I would like to do is to express my warmest congratulations on your academic milestone. Today's event symbolizes the culmination of your studies at the Barcelona School of Economics, and for these reasons, we want to celebrate this achievement with your colleagues, professors, families, and friends present here. In my life, I've attended many graduation ceremonies. As I graduated many years ago, as a parent, as a professor, and now as a vice rector. As a professor and a vice rector, I can tell you that we are very proud of you. One more group of excellent students graduating from the Barcelona School of Economics, but also from the Autonomous University of Barcelona and Universitat Pompeu Fabra. But I have some bad news. Not all professors are like Professor Cabrales, and maybe it's a high possibility that in a few years we don't remember all of you, just some, maybe the one who comes late, maybe the one who always asks questions. So, but there is no greater pleasure when we meet you in the streets, in meetings, universities, in airports, everywhere. When the students approach the professors and tell us about your stories, UPF, I can guarantee you that we are very proud of you. As a Vice Rector of Internationalization, it's a great pleasure to see more students from more than 57 countries. International students bring an enriched mixture of backgrounds, cultural perspectives, and personal experience to the classroom. You now represent the BSE, UPF, and UAB around the world, and I hope you become ambassadors of these institutions. One of the most gratification roles in the graduation is as a parent. Like Professor Cabrales, I've been attending the graduations of my son and daughter, and we are very happy today, right? Parents, families, and friends, today is a great day for us. The parents and the families and friends give unconditional support and love to the graduates, and you have played a relevant role in today's achievement. So I would like to congratulate them too. Now, the graduates. I'm sure you'll never forget these moments, as well the last months in Barcelona. I have no doubt that you have learned, what we have learned during the period of BSE will make you a better prepared and more capable for facing the future professional challenge. But you also have the opportunity to share many experiences with your colleagues studying and going to class together, party together, eating, travel, playing sports together, and many other things that I'm not going to mention. Remember that these relationships very often become stronger with time and can play an important role in your future. The colleagues network can help in many ways, as for example, helping the careers development, the personal growth, creating new opportunities, new professional relationships, and sometimes even personal relationships. And as Professor Teresa Garcia Milá said, now you belong to a bigger network, which is the alumni of BSE. To finalize, I hope that the principles of this school, their international interdisciplinary approach together with excellence and rigor will inspire your future career. Congratulations again on your work. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Elena. So now I would like to give the floor to Professor Xavier Ramos, Vice Rector for Economy at the Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona.
Thank you, Director. Dear students, dear finance students, economics students and PhD track students, it's a great day today, and I'm very happy to be here sharing this joy with you. I'm really honored to personally congratulate you on behalf of our rector, who couldn't be here today to do so directly to you. I would also like to welcome, as Professor Ramalhinho has said before, welcome, congratulate, and thank the relatives who are accompanying you today. Surely you're very proud of them, and you should. The BSE was founded in 2006. The UPF a bit earlier, 1991, if my memory doesn't fail. And since then, we, the UAB's member of the UPF, have been very proud of all the achievements, this talented international crowd that is coming every single year. With great effort, you have arrived at this day. And we are very happy that a new cohort of students is graduating. You are young and you are talented. You've heard this many times this afternoon. And it's absolutely true. To take advantage of it, of all you have learned, all the learnings. Professor Cabrales has made this very explicit. All the friends and colleagues that you have made. Look, as economist myself, I understand that the skills that you have right now, some of which you have acquired here at the BSE, that is excellent training, perseverance, and strong will can make a difference in the world and its many challenges, one of which was outlined and outcasted by the speech of Professor Cabrales. So go ahead and embrace all the opportunities that will open in front of you and be ambitious, be very ambitious. You can afford it now. And if you didn't believe that, you just have to remember the list of institutions and companies and occupations that you saw some minutes ago. You've enjoyed the opportunity that you had, and of course, you have put in your fair share of effort to be sitting here today about to pick up your graduation title, your graduation diploma from a top economics school. As you expect, and if you didn't expect so, Professor Cabrales gave you good and solid evidence about that. Actually, these will push your career and quite likely will make your life better. Now, as you know, not everyone has the same opportunities. We live, indeed, in a very unequal world, which is often polarized. I don't know whether you noticed, but truly, the environmental issues were not very much mentioned in the top 5 journals over these last years. Inequality was the second largest term mentioned in that list after taxation. So that is also a very important social issue nowadays. And indeed, yes, we need you there also. So I trust, and this is another plea, a further plea from that Professor Cabrales made to you. I trust that when you are in a position of influence, and believe me, some of you are bound to be there sooner or later, you will work to make a better world for everyone. Environment is very important, but also opportunities, irrespective of birth of place, gender, or ethnicity, for instance, so that everyone get some basic opportunities and human rights to live lives that are also worth living. You belong to a unique community, as it has already been pointed out, that includes scholars from many institutions, the 4 units, and especially the Pompeu Fabra, and a selected group of students, the alumni, spread all over the world that were trained here. You had good proof of it in the plenary lecture. Please keep in touch with your family, as Professor Ramalhinho has also asked you, with your family and your colleagues, and keep always with you the memories of this great and unique, I hope, year for you. I'm sure that you will cross each other's lives more than once in the years to come. To finish, as Professor Ramalhinho has pointed also out, you're going to be ambassadors of this institution now. So do please be great ambassadors of the BSE from now on. Many congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. So now it is the time you've been all waiting for after this strong, very hard work, the time of awarding the diplomas. So I'm going to call to the floor the directors of the program in economics, Marta Reinal and Eulalia Nualart.
So first of all, I would like to congratulate you on the excellent job you have done this year. And I'm sure, as many as you have heard for the last half an hour, you will have a great future. If you have achieved the master, you are ready for much more. So we wish you the best, and I hope you will always carry Barcelona School of Economics with you. So now it's the moment to start reading the names. Samridi Agrawal, Rushali Agrawal, Catarina Aires de Sa Fernandez, Sripat Atri, Aidan Angels. Ignacio Balaguer López, Rabea Nora Bermat, Samuele Betueli, Inga Rosa Boubarsdorschistir, Nicolás Boaban. Daniel Borcart, Florian Bernat, Beatriz Calderón Sánchez, Rafael Capabianca, James Connolly. Anna Drabova, Bella Eriksson, Emily Elder, Enrique Spana Rizzo, Daniel Alexander Fish. Alessandro Fornasari, Jairo Enrique Galvis Abella, Ariana Gambarella, Sofía Baptista Gubella, Yunlin Ji. Abel Hoflin, Dejana Ristov, Hiroki Kameyana, Jaskis, Athanasios Koloktias.
Gaia Caruacci, Nicolás Martí, Chindan Miao, Constantinos Mira, Andrea Piomolo. Luca Orsini, Alberto Ors Torres, Ricard O'Shiel, Jacob Pereira, Entil Pomer. Tabisa Pristilli, Claudia Quintana Vidal, Johnny Ramshaw, Kaisa Roman, Ana Ruffert. Francesco Salerno, Ánaga Santos, Lara Rayar, Daniel Schumacher Ramírez, Yuma Schuster. Maraike Shirar, Kumar Shubham, Teresa Simas Magalies, Ana Skoblar, Kritika Soni. Timothy Salavan, Natalia Télez Lara, Leonardo Teruel Fortín, Dino Toskish, Manish Veidia. està? Aquests també. Aristomás Vilorio Álvarez, Tom Guixier, Mónica Yadaz, Alejandro Zimmerman, Lourdes María Zulí, Diana María Antonia Zaidek. Ja està.
Thank you, Marta and Eulalia. Thank you, Marta and Eulalia. I would like to call now Filippo Ippolito, who is Director of the Program in Financial Economics.
Good evening, everybody. I'm the director of the Financial Economics program, and it is my pleasure, my honor, to welcome the smart, the hardworking, and the funny and simply wonderful class in financial economics. Here we go. Fernando Álvarez, Hugo Campo, Gerald Cisneros, Adolfo Alejandro de Rosa y Jeff Antonio. Fernando Jiménez, Marat Kasimov, Diego Martínez, Diego Medrano, Bernardo Ortega. Kai Penfold, Ivo Peshev, Ricard Punzola, Rafael Ravinet, Sebastian Rosen, and Anna Yi.
Thank you so much, Filippo. I would like now to call Davide De Bortoli, who is the director in the PhD track program.
Congratulations, class of the PhD track program. This has been an intense year, full of advanced courses, problem sets, tough exams, but I can witness it was also full of friendship. In your case, this is just the first step towards the final goal of getting a PhD at UPF. You did a great job. Congratulations. We are very proud of you, and we are looking forward to seeing you with us next year. Now it's the time to award the certificates. Martina Di Sano, Yuri Filippone, Uriol Givernau Ruzés, José Lores Diz y Ravish Usman Rizvi. Juan Ignacio Rodriguez, in his case, is a new father, so double reasons for congratulating. And Andrea Rolando.
Thank you, Davide. Okay. So now it's time to hear the alumni representative, and I would like to call Dean Curry, who graduated in economics in 2015.
Hiya. Good evening, everyone. So, as said, I'm Dean Curry, and I graduated from the economics class here back in 2015. I think ever since then, I've been working at RBB Economics, which is one of the leading economic consultancies in competition law, where I'm now a principal at the firm. So I think, offering my assistance, if anyone is interested in working in this field, please do feel free to reach out to me, for any questions or any advice on it. I'd be happy to help you. So I think before kicking off, I just wanted to say, a huge thank you to the BSE staff for inviting me to speak to you and congratulate you on this huge achievement and welcome you to the BSE alumni community. I think it's always an honour for me to come back to this school, and I think, it's particularly humbling to come and speak to you today on a day as important as it is today. I think I remember my own graduation back in 2015 like it was yesterday, but it's now almost 10 years ago, which makes me feel very old even saying. So I think I will keep this very short. I think there's just 2 points that I wanted to make, which is echoing what's already been said. But I think these just, for me personally, and I think for you as well, kind of the 2 key takeaways that you'll take away from your experience here at Barcelona. So I think first, and maybe obviously, is that you've obtained a master's from one of the leading academic institutions here at BSE. It's got a huge global reputation, and I think although I knew this beforehand, I think now that I kind of see the world a bit more through the employer's point of view when we're looking at applications, I think it's something I've come to appreciate much, much more. So I think at RBB in particular, we've got a huge kind of alumni network even within our firm, and we're always hiring people from this school. So I think, equally, when I look back at my own kind of colleagues at this, at this university, they've all as well gone on to achieve amazing things, working at other leading rival consultancies, which we won't mention names, but also kind of the World Bank, the IMF. So I think, the future is really bright for you all. So I think, on that note, I think, why this has been a very difficult year for you. I know there's been many late nights in the library revising for difficult exams, working on impossible problem sets, maybe some late nights in razzmatazz as well. I think you should all now kind of, take a step back and, really look at what you've achieved, because I think it is something special to graduate from this school. And I can't promise you that you're not going to face problems going forward that are as scary as the econometrics problem set, but what I can promise you is that the skills you've learned over the last year here are going to prepare you to deal with any of them that come your way. So I think, the BSE has given you, invaluable technical, economic and econometric skills. It's taught you to deal with, new complex economic issues, firsthand. And it's kind of taught you to work in a team from people from such a diverse background, which are all going to be invaluable skills for your career going forward. So I think the second key takeaway, which is very apparent that it's the same again here this year, is that it's given you the opportunity to be in such an amazing international community from people all over the world. I think now, knowing many people that did other master's courses, I think BSE is very unique in the way in which it brings together people from all over the world, but also keeps them in touch with one another for many years after. So say I graduated 10 years ago almost now, and I've still got kind of a close group of friends from all over Europe, South America and Africa, which just would never have happened had I not studied here. So I think the same is going to apply to you all here today. I'm sure you've made friends from all over the world that you'll continue to hold dear for many years to come. And it may be ironic coming from a British man after Brexit, but I think this global integration and spending time with other cultures and nationalities is kind of invaluable for everyone to develop personally going forward. So I think while today for some of you marks the end of your time in Barcelona, it's certainly not the end of your participation in this international community. So I think, first of all, it's very unlikely for many of you that this will be your last interaction with the university itself. Some of you are staying on to do a PhD already, but others will be coming back, with their future employers representing in recruitment events, or some of you will be standing where I am now giving a terrifying speech to future graduates. So, and then, as I say, I graduated 10 years ago, and I think in one form or another, I've been back to the university, I think every year, possibly more than once. So I think, this certainly isn't your last interaction with the university. Second, I'm sure this is not the end of the friendships and, connections that you've formed over the last year. Although after today, you might go back to your various different countries and even in different continents, you'll find that you just use this as an excuse to visit new parts of the world and have a local tour guide. And I think if any of you made Brazilian friends, just make sure you visit them for Carnival. I promise you it's worthwhile. So wanted to keep this short, and just to wrap up, I think a huge congratulations on your amazing achievements to date, and I wish you the best of luck in all your career, but this is just the beginning. That said, your time here at BSE has prepared you to go on and reach for the stars, and I don't just mean your regression coefficients. So, I like that one. So, So, welcome to the GSE alumni community, and I hope to see some of you soon in Madrid and even at RBB. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dean, for accepting to give this very special speech. So now I would like to call Luca Orsini and Jacob Pereira, who are representing the econ.
So many people. Good evening, esteemed faculty, distinguished guests, beloved family and friends, and my fellow graduates. My name is Luca Orsini, and I'm deeply honored to stand before you today as we celebrate this significant milestone in our lives. A challenging year is coming to an end, and as it does, we can all agree on something. We all learned a lot. Some of us learned how challenging it is to cope with stress, anxiety, and problems at deadlines. Some others also figured out how to find a way home from Oveja Negra at 2 a.m. in the morning. A quick shout out also to our friends at the PhD track. Many congratulations in the extremely challenging year you managed to go through. We are quite envious, I have to say, of the fact that you will stay in Barcelona doing what you love the most, even getting paid. Not so much, but I mean. As for our finance fellows, we all know that regardless of where you're going to end up working, whether it's in Goldman Sachs in London or in a random company in Kyrgyzstan, that they're all going to earn as much more as we could hope for. A special thank you also to our coordinator for answering our 10,000 doubts per day and for putting the core exams in the second term so close that we couldn't even realize how screwed we were. We would also like to thank our Deputy Director, Prof. Nualar, for being our mentor in all things academic, and especially our therapist in the moments of greatest discomfort. Another heartfelt thank you goes to our Director, Prof. Reynal, for his precious advice. We still remember in our first meeting, our opening. It's going to be challenging. Work hard, put your head down, and work every day. I assure you that we all worked so hard that between our first and second meeting, it almost felt like a year flown by. One of the advantages of being part of such a diverse program is that we share our journey with many international students. What best way to celebrate it than to make a bit fun of it? Let's start with the Germans. We all learned two things from them. First, that the stereotype that they don't have any sense of humor is not true. But just in case, if you hear laughing, please laugh as well. The second is that the stereotype about their punctuality is as true as the fact that the coffee of the cafeteria is the best in Barcelona. As for our Indian friends, it was very difficult to find anything to joke about you guys, because you're so nice, polite, and the best thing I could come out with is that you're the Canadians of Asia with much tastier and spicy food. This year we also had the pleasure of having colleagues from Japan and China. Unfortunately, once they found out what we do with their culture, in particular their food in Europe, they decided to seek jobs in their own countries. Also, honorable mention to the British guys. First of all, we should all thank them for increasing the credibility of our presentations, even though we were not really understanding what they were saying. But the most important thing that we learned from them is that sometimes we just seek what we want the most, but not necessarily with good outcomes, just like they did with any major football competition in the past 58 years and with bars. Now, for our amazing group of Americans. They came here to bring their can-do spirit, enthusiasm, and ready to experience the sights of Barcelona. Instead, they discovered that the true cultural icons of the city are Casa de Lina, Oveja Negra, and El Rincón. We then proceed to the Latinos. In our huge cohort, we had the pleasure of having, just to name some, Argentinians, Colombians, Dominicans. I would really like to make fun of them, but I've received a letter just before the speech saying, "We know too much. If you want to keep your good reputation, say the following." Say the following. Arepas are better than pizza, Mat is better than Italian coffee, and Latin America is the true America. Signed, your flatmates. Finally, to the Italians. Probably not the biggest group at BSE this year, but definitely the loudest and most caffeine addicted. If while working around BSE you heard someone talking about buzzing economics or the firm, without any specific economic context, with a very high probability he was an Italian student. Now, jokes apart, it's been a pleasure to share this journey with you all, and I hope that we'll get to share many more memories in the future. Of one thing I'm sure is that we will have each other backs wherever we will be in the world. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
I was nervous about writing the speech, and then I remembered my American can-do spirit, and just naturally started flowing, so works out. No, but when ChatGPT first wrote this speech, I realized it was just a bit too comprehensive. I was looking for a more nuanced approach. Moreover, I realized that the speech did indeed have to come from the heart, so here it goes. After COVID, I felt like my youth was going to waste, and I didn't have any control over it. I have to be grateful for this time, though, because it encouraged me to step outside my comfort zone and apply to BSE, where I got the honor to meet all of you this year, and that was one of the best experiences I've ever had. I felt like I got to travel around the world and hearing everybody's stories. To see that we were born in such different places, yet shared a similar hatred to problem sets was something beautiful. I love getting to know how you all saw the world, what your unsolicited thoughts on America was. Thank you for the feedback, Germany. And how we all enrich our lives for the better. Whether it was beach volleyball, Ovea Negra, or fighting for a study space in Building 24, I felt connected to all of you in a way that transcended anything we learned in the classroom. I don't know about you guys, but I heard that this master's program was a bit intense from the start of the program. While this was absolutely true, it really was, there's just not enough talk about the friendships and extraordinary people you get to meet while you're here. The difficulty of both the masters and being away from home really helped us grow close. And for what you all meant to me, I just truly want to thank you for giving me the best year I could ever ask for. Now I'd love to thank the most important people in attendance here today, the friends and the families. I know it's not the easiest to see us move away and undergo a very difficult master's. So thank you for answering our late night calls, listening to all of our complaining, and supporting us when we need it the most. Throughout this year, we found out a lot about ourselves, and you guys gave us the love and support to do so. You allowed us to become the people that could take on such a taxing year with all the challenges of being away. We really could not be here on this stage and at this point without you guys standing right behind us. Everyone, please give a round of applause to all the loved ones that support you today. Now, I would like to finally thank BSE. They gave us a renowned international platform for us to excel in. It was wonderful to be a part of a university that's improving exponentially. It was amazing to be a part of all the improvements, the feedback, and the many voluntary surveys that we could take. Knowing that you leave behind a better cohort for the future is truly something special. I would also like to thank the professors. They were always very responsive and attentive throughout the terms, which was definitely a lifesaver for the workload of the classes. The lectures and problem sets prepared us so well, by the time final exams came around, there were no surprises. I don't know why you guys are laughing. All in all, I would like to sincerely express my gratitude for BSE for giving me the most challenging yet best experience. Now we have a lot to look forward to. I personally cannot wait to see what this class will go on to do. Being around all your minds this year has genuinely made me excited for the potential of this class. It's crazy that I get to visit places like Frankfurt and visit so many of you that are working at the ECB. I love that I get to check on my PhD students at Toulouse and Warwick next year. I truly cannot say that I'm so proud in each and every one of you for this year, because it was hard, and we did do it, and that's definitely something to be proud about. All in all, I would like to know that the bond that we made this year will set us up for the rest of our lives. So from the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank all of you and congratulate you for graduating in this master's. Cheers, guys. Now we get ready for the cocktail hour, okay? Let's do it.
Luca, Jacob, thank you very much for these wonderful speeches. So we are done. We are going to have a cocktail at what's called the Win Room. And I want to congratulate you again, class 2024. And I want to welcome you to the BSE alumni community. Now you're part of it. Be proud of it and extend it to all over the world.